John F. Kennedy once said that intelligence and skill can only function at the peak of their capacity when the body is healthy and strong. This holds especially true in our education profession. Imagine this. It's late in the afternoon and you're surrounded by a mountain of ungraded work. Your energy is waning, your focus is blurring, and yet there is still so much to be accomplished. Familiar? This is the reality for many of us in the teaching profession. But what if I told you that there's a way to break this cycle? I've walked this path, struggling to balance teaching demands and personal wellness. I remember days when I would be so teacher tired that I found myself seeking refuge in my car for a quick rest during lunch breaks. My body was signaling me for physical rest. And that's when I realized the profound impact of physical rest. So, what exactly is it? Well, beyond just sleep, it's about allowing our bodies to recover from the day's activities and stress. Research tells us that physical rest activities are about physical movement and muscle movement, which can occur while sleeping, while at work, and at leisure. According to a particular study, physical activity is also an emotional activity. The spectrum of emotions in physical activity can range from joy and feelings of empowerment to humiliation and anguish. For these reasons and more, physical rest cannot be overlooked. In this micro-learning video, we're going to dive deep into strategies for physical rest that are both practical and transformative for teachers and students. So let's explore how we can integrate these into our busy teaching schedule. Number one, we can do scheduled stretching routines. I know firsthand the demands of the day can leave us feeling physically tense and mentally taxed, and that's where a scheduled stretching routine comes into play. Integrating a brief stretching routine into your day can make a world of difference. You can do this before the students arrive, using the quiet of your classroom to kind of center yourselves. Or you could also incorporate it during like the transition times between your lessons or between classes. All you need is 5 minutes. 5 minutes of stretching can release muscle tension, and it can also increase your blood flow. Physical rest practices like this is not only beneficial for you, but it also positively impacts your interactions with students. I find that I am more patient and more present and more ready for the teaching day when I incorporate physical rest practices like stretching. Number two is hydration and healthy snacking. So staying hydrated and nourished is often overlooked in our day-to-day teaching tasks. However, it is the cornerstone of physical wellness. Keeping a water bottle, like my Stanley cup right here, at hand and opting for healthy snacks. And this can all sustain your energy throughout the day. So having your water bottle that is within reach, that you could take sips throughout the day is good. You can choose your healthy snacks like, nuts and fruit and yogurt and protein bars and protein shakes. These are all known for their energy boosting properties. So physical rest practices like hydration and healthy eating is a simple yet effective way to ensure that your body is getting the physical needs and you're not taking a back seat amidst all of the responsibilities that you have in your teaching. You're not putting that on the physical needs on the back burner. Number three is your bedtime ritual. A restful night's sleep is essential for effective teaching, and a bedtime ritual can be your way to achieve this restful night's sleep. So when you have a consistent routine, it does signal your body that it's time to wind down and prepare for sleep. So you want to choose activities that soothe you. It could be reading a book. It could be taking a warm bath. It could be journaling. It could be practicing some light stretching. What you want to do is aim to start this routine at the same time each night so that it establishes a rhythm. And this kind of physical rest practice, it nurtures not only your physical rest, but it also nurtures your mental peace. Incorporating restful practice activities in the classroom can be simple yet effective, but it is also crucial. So the need for physical activities because you have so many children who are at risk for serious medical conditions such as high blood pressure and heart disease and diabetes without the physical rest is something of concern for us as teachers. And it's also important to note that the statistics for these kinds of conditions are even more alarming for our minority student population. So want to keep those in mind so that we can try to incorporate, or we can incorporate these restful practices and restful activities in our classroom, in our daily classroom activities. So what we're going to do is talk about 3 ways that you can start to extend the physical rest practices to your students. Let's get into number 1, which is walk and talk discussions. So walk and talk and discussions sound exactly what they are, right? They're an excellent way to combine the physical activity of movement with the cognitive engagement of critical thinking and discussions, right? So you're organizing your students, you're pairing them up, you're grouping them into small teams. Each group is given a discussion topic that relates to the lesson. They walk around in designated areas. It could be inside the classroom, in the hallways, or even outside if possible, and they're discussing the topic. You may find that students who are typically more reserved feel more at ease to express their thoughts while walking. The physical movement may even stimulate their thinking and make discussions more lively and engaging. This approach not only invigorates the classroom atmosphere, but it also caters to the different learning styles, particularly for those students who thrive on that physical activity. Now, we're going to jump into topic number 2, which is classroom movement stations. They involve setting up various areas in the classroom, each dedicated to a different aspect of the lesson. For instance, in a literature class, you can have one station that focuses on character analysis, another on theme, and a third one on like the historical context, right? And students rotate between sections or stations, and they spend a set amount of time at each engaging in different tasks or activities designated for those stations, problem solving, whatever it is. You also may find that using movement stations, it brings in that element of interactivity that traditional teaching methods often lack. And it may also allow your students to collaborate more effectively, encouraging a more hands-on approach to learning, keeping them physically active, but also cognitively inclined as well. This method provides a more diverse and engaged learning experience for your students. So now that you've had a taste of that classroom movement station activity or strategy, we're going to go into topic number 3, which are active learning games. We can incorporate active learning games like vocabulary scavenger hunts. These are fantastic ways for your students to have that movement with their learning. So in a vocab scavenger hunt, for example, you may have words and their definitions that are placed around the classroom, around the school, and students must move around to find the words. And upon finding each word, they perform a task related to it, such as acting out the word or using it in a sentence. You may find that incorporating an active learning game like a scavenger hunt can bring an element of fun and excitement to the classroom. It increases the student participation and the enthusiasm. And these activities are also effective in breaking up the monotony of the conventional classroom activities, and they help in catering to your kinesthetic learners who benefit from those movement-based learning activities. So, to sum up, we've covered essential practices for your own physical rest and some dynamic classroom strategies for your students' physical rest. We're going to recap. For you, we talked about scheduled stretching routines, hydration, and healthy snacking, and bedtime rituals. For your students, we talked about walk and talk discussions, classroom movement stations, and active learning games. So thank you for joining us on this path to a more energized teaching experience with the physical restful teacher practices. But before you go, let me leave you with this quick gem. Physical rest practices, when consistently implemented, can profoundly impact your daily routine. They help in striking that much needed balance between the demands of teaching and your personal well-being. Taking care of yourself is not just beneficial for you, it is a gift to your students and your family as well. So remember that a well-rested teacher is an empowered educator.